Hello, Wes, and thank you so much, Kristen and Wes, for the nice introduction and your portion of the presentation. And to everyone out there, thank you for attending our webinar. I know from what I saw on the sidebar, there are a huge number of attendees from all over the world. A big thank you to all of you across the various time zones, which may not be convenient, but it tells me one thing, that life science companies out there are looking for dependable value for money testing. And this is what we deliver at Daicel Chiral Technologies India, which is the acronym DCTI. And with that, I just also wanted to give you a little bit of a disclaimer here, given the time constraints. For my portion of this presentation, I'm giving an overview of the analytical service solutions and not from a technical nature, digging deeper. Just the same, though, don't worry. I'm happy and ready to continue this dialogue confidentially and learn more about your team's testing needs. In addition, as a side note, we also, as DCTI, generate a monthly industry newsletter, which is focused and informational and educational in nature, in which our subscribers find value and benefit on the latest analytical testing techniques. And also, we do exhibit at all major life science trade shows and conduct face-to-face meetings. Obviously, with COVID being in our radar screen, we do intend on participating during the second half of 2021 to these trade shows. So keep an eye and ear out for us. I'm happy to engage further for that type of deeper dive. And with that, I would like to then proceed with the presentation at hand. As Wes said, we are all Daicel. We work with companies such as yours in attendance. Some of you know us as being a solid performer in any given solution service that we provide. To those of you out there that know us already, this presentation is also to expand your knowledge base as far as what we can provide further to you. To newcomers here, again, welcome. We hope that you find this portion of the presentation informative and engaging, and think of us for your next testing needs. Now, as Wes had alluded to, our network is expansive and global. Daicel is a large Japanese-owned company, but however, we work on a very roll-up-your-sleeves can-do attitude basis where we take our clients' problems, issues, and testing solutions very seriously with fast responsive times. Our physical location for Daicel Chiral Technologies India is indeed in India in Hyderabad, which is our analytical center of excellence site. As you can see from the photo here, this is a state-of-the-art facility, which is equipped, as we say, with the 3 E's, our expertise, state-of-the-art equipment, and experience with our staff. And again, this is a photo here of that wonderful facility. GMP services, as Wes also alluded to, we are a CGMP and ISO standard facility and proud of that. We are accredited by all the global regulatory agencies, as you see the sample bullet points here. And our inspections and audits have passed with flying colors. So there's no issue of red flags or observations. We cater to the global 100 life science companies for their testing needs, and they trust us for that, and we are proud of that fact. Now, let's get into the actual offerings that we have. We'll start with the one in which we receive numerous inquiries and also orders on an everyday basis. It may not be the sexiest offering, but I will tell you it is the one that has brought us a lot of open doors in order to prove ourselves going further. And these are our pharma standards from as low as the milligram up to the multi-gram quantity. And what is our secret here? Competitive pricing. We have a robust catalog of such standards of assured quality. We strive for 95% purity, and which is, by the way, accompanied by an FDA compliance certificate of analysis. Now, related to this is the custom impurities offerings. As seen in this graph, and forgive me, there's a lot going on here. but we're happy to share details with you in expanded presentations that we have for each of these offerings. We do a deeper dive for any type of testing that you need, whether it be impurity testing, whether it be extractables or leachables that I'm going to showcase a little bit later, microbiology and so forth. So I just want to let you know that I'm really just giving an overview here, but happy to engage further and deeper for any of these solutions. So related to impurity standards, we basically have our own methodology step by step. To summarize, we start with your specific requirements. We enter with a feasibility phase, move on to characterization, which includes the structural elucidation, then move on to the isolation of the target quantity through preparative HPLC, which then brings us to the synthesis that occurs through route design. And in the end, we have the target impurity at hand with a COA from, again, FDA compliance standpoint. Now, method development validation is the really the claim to fame that we have with Wes's group. And what I mean by that is, even though this slide does say method development and validation, we also undertake optimization and method transfer as well. Many times, more than not, we perform complementary initial screening for our clients. And with that, we work hand in hand with many of Wes's clients on this type of advanced type of method validation. Mind you, we also have upcoming case study in which this will also be sent to our recipients here today in our subscriber list of a case study in which we conducted and performed recently, which will give you a little more real life history on a sample such development and validation. Stability studies. This is also a bread and butter study, which obviously we have seen growth. And by that, I mean, we have expanded our facility in Hyderabad to an additional 80 square meters of stability chambers because of the increased demand. It goes without saying these chambers have 24/7 backup power supply redundancies to basically ensure the consistent and continuous temperature relative humidity settings that our customers require for their studies. These studies also have SOP, standard operating procedures, and documentations in place for the loading and withdrawal of the samples as dictated by the client's requirements. From what I see here on the chart, what really rings a bell, I see a lot of photo stability that we undertake and formulation development as far as stability goes. Now, extractables and leachables is really one of the two growth areas that we see at DCTI, and really for good reason. This, as you most likely know, is an increasing and stringent regulation out there concerning the potential leaching of packaging materials into the drug in question. So obviously patient safety is the utmost concern here. So we know that new and innovative compounds are always coming out, and with that, these are being used to house or deliver medicines, and thus need to be strictly tested. And that goes also for rubber stoppers, seals, tubing, and so forth. It applies not only to pharma medical device, but also to the food and cosmetic industries, among others. Our basic radar screen now has seen the 4 eyes that I show up here as far as inhalants, injectables, infusion, and implantables as being a big bulk of our business currently, but not only. Dermal and topical applications also play an important place as far as volume of work, as does from a vision care and nasal spray standpoint. This slide really probably is the most technical slide that I'm going to get into today. It's really just showcasing the equipment that we use for each class of compound within E&L. And as you see, DCTI has the appropriate instrumentation for accurate E&L testing based on the compounds at hand. And again, we have a dedicated presentation of around 30 minutes that digs deeper in this type of testing solution if and when you need it. What I could say also is that it's very critical that E&L testing be done right the first time based on its relatively higher cost of study and the longer, relatively speaking, again, time frame to conduct such a study. So if any one of you out there know you have a product that's going to be launched, you cannot afford just extending the budgetary requirements for earmarking for E&L if you did not do it right the first time, which would also prolong its launch to the marketplace. So very critical. Microbiology testing. Although it's not a growth area per se, it is a sizable amount of our business, and any lab, as you know, out there worth their weight needs to have a solid and dedicated microbiology lab. And we are proud to have the breadth and scope of various, almost all-inclusive microbiology testing in-house there at Hyderabad, ranging from sterility and all the way down to the latest ones that we've seen many times, expanded further. Preservative efficacy testing comes to mind, as well as bioburden testing is another one that we've seen a lot of business with, especially with medical device companies. Non-routine is really a misnomer. It's not non-routine because of the non-frequency. It's non-routine because it requires a little more expertise in here. And again, we pride ourselves as far as completing the whole continuum of microbiology testing in-house. And here again, I show the bioburden type of testing. Endotoxin is another one that is widely requested, as well as stability testing from a microbiology standpoint. Now, the other growth area that I wanted to mention, aside from extractables and leachables, is within the large molecule domain. And I'm specifically speaking biopharmaceutical services. From this graph, the spectrum that you see, we have been very proud in the last year or two to complete this puzzle of providing a one-stop shop in all these types of biopharmaceutical services. And the reason and the driver is, well, it's now the future and growing exponentially. The analogy that parallels this is the generic medications that were brought to the marketplace, say, 35 to 40 years ago. Biosimilars are in this position currently. So DCTI has recognized this from years before, jumped ahead of the curve, invested steadily in this type of testing in the last 10 years, and we are fulfilling the most requested services in this sector, as outlined here, but not only. Peptide services. This is another area related to biopharmaceutical in which we basically have seen what was requested, voice of consumer out there in the marketplace, and aligned our expertise accordingly in order to support such testing such as peptide synthesis, generic peptide APIs, peptide mapping. There are other services that we provide that are not listed here. Of note, if I remember correctly, they could anything from process development and tech transfer, amino acid analysis, again, goes hand in hand within the space of biopharmaceutical testing. And lastly, within, but not least, is in vitro bioequivalence studies. In this particular space, what I have seen and the team has been focused on is dissolution testing specifically, and not only. We've seen our share of the other three here listed, but I'm proud to say within dissolution studies, we do have the various apparatus from 1 to 4 in order to conduct your specific testing needs. Lastly, to sum it all up, what does it really mean to you? You're here on this webinar and you're saying, okay, so what? And the way I'm going to answer so what is give us a chance in order to prove to you, as we have done to the attendees here today, in which we've earned their trust day by day by providing integrated services. That means working hand in hand with people such as Wes for a seamless integrated service solution and delivery. a global network where we have dual, sometimes even triple sourcing and backup methodologies and contingency plans in order. Quick turnaround time. And when I say quick turnaround time, I'm not only speaking about the actual testing itself, but also the quoting process, which I know from other laboratories can be a nightmare, and also from a reporting standpoint. Because again, we perform in a very nimble, roll up the sleeves mentality here, even though we are part of a larger, respected Japanese company. Technical expertise, most of our staff out of Hyderabad either possesses a master's or PhD with 10 years experience at least and very low turnover. Advanced technologies, I just mentioned briefly state-of-the-art equipment that we have. And the seamless communication. Basically, any of you in attendance here today know that I personally, as a face and voice of DCTI, I've been able to provide 24/7 service. And with that, we generally love what we do, and we wish to demonstrate to you to earn your trust and give us the opportunity to serve your team. And that's why we are the right partner. I'll close with this before handing it over to Wes again. I think a question I received from the audience is if E&L is applicable for in vivo and not only for in vitro. The answer is yes. Implantables is just one case scenario, and I'm happy to take this offline with that particular attendee. And I think there were some flatter here, another translation. Can we translate this into other languages? I think this is in the works. I think this, Kristen may and Wes may provide commentary that this presentation is being recorded. With that, I'll give it back to Wes. Thank you for your time here today. And again, I am at your service as well as Wes to provide exceed expectations in our roles. Wes?
Thank you very much, Constantine, and thank you to all of you who tuned in today. A few email addresses here for you if you have any questions relating to the chiral core business, the chiral separations piece. Please feel free to reach out to me, and anything related to the analytical services labeled pharma standards, please feel free to reach out to Constantine. There is a copy of the handout, the slide presentation. You can certainly download that. But if you'd like something else, we have a number of other webinars that we've done in the past. Please feel free to email one of us, and we can certainly put you in contact with somebody who can provide you with that information. So thank you once again for joining in. Please enjoy the rest of your St. Patrick's Day, and we will hopefully be discussing these projects with you in more detail in the near future.